In a small town filled with the sound of busy streets and chirping birds, there lived a boy named Leo. He was only 10 years old, but he carried a dream as big as the sky. Leo loved music. Whenever he passed by the town square, he would stop to listen to the old violinist who played on the corner. The way the strings sang, the way people smiled when they heard the melody, it felt like magic. One evening, Leo told his mother, "Mom, I want to learn how to play music. I want to make people smile the way that man does." His mother smiled warmly and handed him a small wooden guitar that had belonged to his grandfather. The strings were a little rusty, and the body had scratches, but to Leo, it was the most beautiful instrument in the world. At first, he thought it would be easy. He held the guitar, strummed the strings, and expected music to pour out like water from a fountain. But instead, it sounded messy, squeaky, and out of tune. Leo frowned. "This is harder than I thought." But he didn't give up. Every day after school, he sat by his window with the guitar resting on his lap. His fingers stumbled, his hands ached, and sometimes, tears filled his eyes when nothing sounded right. One afternoon, his neighbor, an elderly woman named Mrs. Rivera, knocked on his door. "I hear you practicing every day," she said kindly. "It sounds a little rough, but I can tell you're trying hard. Do you want some help?" Mrs. Rivera used to be a music teacher, and soon she began guiding Leo. She showed him how to tune the strings, how to place his fingers gently, and how to let the notes breathe instead of rushing. "Music," she told him, "isn't about being perfect. It's about telling a story with sound." Little by little, Leo improved. At first, he could only play a single note clearly. Then, a few weeks later, he could play a simple tune. And after months of practice, his hands began to dance across the strings, creating melodies that even surprised him. One day, Mrs. Rivera gave him a challenge. "Leo, it's time for you to write your own song. A song that tells your story." Leo's eyes widened. "My own song? But I'm just a kid. What story could I possibly tell?" Mrs. Rivera smiled. "Every person has a story worth sharing, even the young ones." That night, Leo sat with his guitar and thought about his life. He thought about the old violinist in the town square, about the first time he strummed and failed, about the pain in his fingers, and about the joy he felt when he finally made a beautiful sound. He picked up his guitar and began to play slowly. The notes were shaky at first, but soon they came together like pieces of a puzzle. The melody rose and fell, soft like his doubts, then strong like his determination. By morning, Leo had written his very first song. A week later, Mrs. Rivera encouraged him to perform at the town square. Leo's heart pounded as he stood before the crowd, guitar in hand. His palms were sweaty, and for a moment, he wanted to run. But then he saw his mother in the crowd, smiling proudly. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and began to play. The song floated into the air, gentle, pure, and filled with his journey. The people stopped to listen. Some smiled, some swayed, and one little child even clapped along. When the last note faded, there was silence. Then, the crowd erupted into applause. Leo's cheeks turned red, but inside, his heart glowed. He had done it. He had played his first song. That day, Leo learned something even more valuable than music. Every skill takes time. Every dream takes effort. And even when things feel impossible, with patience and courage, you can create something beautiful. From that moment on, Leo never stopped playing. And though he would go on to learn many songs, his very first one, the one born from his struggles, his hope, and his heart, would always be the most special of all. Learning a skill is never easy, but every step, every mistake, and every moment of practice adds value to our lives. With dedication and belief in ourselves, even the youngest among us can create something meaningful.